back. Citizens United, with John Restaino, and I'm your host. Beautiful day outside. Real beautiful. Almost looks like, well, you can see it out my window. See how nice it is?
It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Zinc.
And look at that. Look at the sky. How you doing, Wade?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
All right. I'm kind of exhausted.
Yeah, it was a very long night last night. I could say that.
Yeah, a little bit. You know what? I don't know. I just, you get exhausted. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You just get exhausted every time, decade after decade of whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know what
We
else to
should
say.
expect it by now,
Yeah,
shouldn't we?
it's not a sucker punch, that's for sure. You see it coming and we just take it.
Yeah.
So, hi Robin.
Hello.
How you doing over there?
I've had better days.
Sharing?
Sharing.
Good. Thanks for sharing. And you'll be checking the message board in case there's any questions
Absolutely.
or comments that need to be said, or just monitor what's happening. John, how you doing?
Good, John.
You be ready for Friday, goal getters?
Sure will.
Yeah, me too.
Best sports show. CJ Spiller agrees with that.
He sure does. Yes, he even loves it too.
Gotta get him on.
But I'll tell you, I don't know, guys. It's like I said right off the top. It's tiring, man. It's just tiring.
Mhm.
I'm shot. I mean, you can't. You know what? One good thing though, we're going to have a positive thing later on,
Yes.
and after way later. Wait till we talk about what the New York State Attorney General did today.
Right.
That's finally a little bit of a win for a sexual assault survivors.
Correct.
Finally.
Correct. And that's going to be towards the end of the show where we're going to give you breaking news about the Attorney General and what she is doing.
Yeah, and like I say, we don't get many wins when you're with survivors, unfortunately, and it's sad. Today, though, and when you're gonna meet a really interesting guest. When we come back from break, I will be joined by Jim Schultz. He's a writer and author. That doesn't even mention it all. We'll get into it all.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll be back in a moment with Mr. Schultz. All right, we're back on Citizens United, and my guest, Mr. Jim Schultz.
Hey,
you
John,
doing?
how are you? I'm good.
I'm good. You know what? I got to
Hey,
give
Wade.
Hey, how are you today,
Good
Jim?
to see you, man.
anyone else out
Good to
there.
see you again,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, definitely.
Big
Definitely.
fan of Mr. Schultz.
Let's tell them a little bit of who you are, just from what I know. You wrote a book called My Other Country, 19 Years in Bolivia. Writer. I mean, you're the founder of Democracy Center.
Yeah, been around 30 years.
Wow. And you're a writer for the Lockport Union Sun and Journal.
I write a column, yeah.
Column, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Schultz, Jim, I did research, and I was reading about you, and I'm.
And you still had me
Googling-
on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
Googling and stuff, and it's an incredible journey you went on. Can I hear some of it? Because I know you grew up in California.
I did. I grew up in Richard Nixon's hometown outside of Los Angeles, a place called Whittier.
Right.
When my wife, Lynn, and I got married back in 1991 when we were living in San Francisco, we knew we wanted to do something different with our first year of marriage. We knew we wanted to be volunteers, and we ended up being volunteers for a year in an orphanage in a place called Cochabamba in Bolivia, in South America. Neither of us were teachers, but we started a school. Bolivia is a glorious country. Cochabamba is a place 8,000 feet high in the Andes. Bolivia is a very poor country, but it's a beautiful country, and we were volunteers in this orphanage for a year, and we came back with a 5-year-old daughter who was one of the kids in the orphanage, who later grew up, went to college in the United States, and moved to Lockport, which explains how we ended up here. We went back for a year in 1998. It was supposed to be a year.
Right.
We put our stuff in storage. We stayed for almost 20 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, so Bolivia's been a big part of our lives for a long time.
And that's the name of the book.
That
19
is
years in Bolivia.
That's right,
My
yeah.
other country, 19 years in Bolivia. And you know what, you can find it anywhere where books are sold, Amazon, and
Yeah, it's
all those
there.
places. It's everywhere.
That's
Yeah,
what
here
that's
it
what
is.
it looks like.
That's what it looks like.
There you
There it
go.
is. Yep. All right, so you guys, it's 1998, you go back to Bolivia, you stay 19 years. You go through, what was it, the 2006 election of Morales?
Yeah.
Which ends kind of, where he has to leave. Is it right? He has to. The one thing is, I read where you said that in 2006 you'd never seen anything so joyous when he was elected, right?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we didn't expect to happen in Bolivia was being in the middle of what really was a revolution. This began when we were living there in the first months of 2000. This multinational corporation, which turned out to be the Bechtel Corporation in San Francisco, came in and took over the public water system of the city we were living. This is a city bigger than Buffalo, and people shut themselves down with general strikes 3 times because this company had raised rates on the poorest people in South America. We were talking folks who were lucky to make $100 a month, who were suddenly facing increases of $15 a month in their water bills, like half their monthly food bill. So being in the middle of all that and being the only writer on the scene to take this story and make it known to the world was really just a big surprise. And then that ended up having the experience of really being close to the people and the movements that produced the first indigenous president of Bolivia in 2006.
And then he went till 2019, 17. When was his? When did that end?
2019.
19, yeah. How long ago? And he was. Did he flee? Did he have to leave, or did he just?
Well, unfortunately, what happened is they call it in Spanish el borrachero de poder, the drunkenness of power. And of course, in Niagara County, we know a little something about el borrachero de poder with a Western New York accent. And so he tried to run for a 4th term, which was constitutionally really not allowed.
Right.
And people were very upset about it. Then there was all kinds of sketchy things about the actual election. And he was basically forced to leave. And then there was just a real political uprising. It was a very difficult time in Bolivia the last year.
Right, I'm with Jim Schultz, author of My Other Country, 19 Years in Bolivia. Let's talk real quick. Okay, now you're there, it's 2000, so what is it, 19 years? So you leave in 2017.
2017, the summer of 2017.
Right, okay, so now when did you start I want to go, I guess I'm kind of...
Jump around. Let's
I want to jump to the Democracy Center.
Yeah.
When do you start that and why?
I've been a political activist since I was in high school. And the summer between my sophomore and junior year in college, I went to UC Berkeley. I was a political science student. I interned at the state capitol with the Speaker of the Assembly. And I had this awakening that there were all these really good people trying to make change at the Capitol, protests or letter writing or all these things. And I realized, spending a summer on the inside, that people were not making a difference, even though they could. It's because they didn't really understand how the system worked and how you do that. So I was 19 years old and I thought, gosh, there should be an organization that actually helps people learn how to be activists in an effective way. And that was the idea of the Democracy Center. And then later in 1992, I and other people, we started the organization. So basically our work for 30 years has been to work with citizen movements all around the world and in the United States to help them become more effective in their advocacy work. So we worked with everything from health workers in South Africa during apartheid to immigrants in California, and I work with UNICEF, the UN Agency for Children all over the world, to do things like deal with the mental health crisis with teenagers in Serbia or the needs of poor children in Thailand. And of course, here in Niagara County in Lockport, as a citizen, I've been able to apply some of those same kinds of techniques and practices with some of the sketchy practices of the governments here.
Well, wait. If you have any, you guys, if you have any questions, of course, feel
Oh
free.
yeah, I'm very familiar with Mr.
Right.
Schultz. That's why I was excited to get him in here.
But isn't it funny, kind of what was just said there? I got to bring it to us. Wait a little.
Mhm.
When he had a quote. I hope I'm saying. I hope I got it right. It kills me to see good activist energy go to waste. And think about what some kind of goes on around here.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of people that want the same thing, but either ego or whatever gets in the way. Think about it.
Right.
Think about all the things we think about, and there's a bunch of people, and we can't. I kind of get it, don't you? Do you know?
Of course.
You know?
Yeah, I definitely get it. We need that democracy center right here in Niagara County because we, like you said, we have so many people who are maybe fighting the same fight, but something will get in our way where we are not working together the way we need to be.
No doubt, man. Yeah. So that was such a great. That's why when I saw the Democracy Center and all that, and I was like, wow, we have a bunch of us here that are trying to do things, and it ends up either stopping because of politically, like I say, or ego. Mostly ego, I think, is what knocks. I feel like knocks everyone out. But let's all right. So you come to Lockport for because your daughter, right? That's why you come.
We came back. We came here in 2017 because our daughter was having our first grandchild, so we thought we'd come up for 6 months, and we stayed.
Right.
And so we've been in Lockport now since 2017, and we're here. We're not going anywhere.
Right. Wow. Think about that. You end up in Western New York.
And then on the day my granddaughter was born, it was August 30th that summer. I thought, hey, I'll get her a copy of the Union Sun and Journal for the day she was born,
Right.
and keep it. So I opened it up, and there was this article, terrible article, that was, suggesting that Congress shut down the federal government until they get the money to build the Trump wall with Mexico, which I thought was a really bad idea. So I spent my first evening of grandfatherhood writing a response column for the paper. And they published it, and then I had coffee with the editor. She said, would you like to do a column for us? That's kind of how I accidentally became a columnist for the Union Sun and Journal. And it was just a few months after that I kind of randomly saw a mention in the paper of the school district wanting to do this facial recognition surveillance system. And, some guys spend midwinter watching football. I spent it doing research.
Right.
And figured out the story of how this salesman had scammed the district. He pretended he was a security consultant, offered his services to the district for free to do a threat assessment for the district, and his recommendation was that they spend $2.7 million on this facial recognition surveillance system that no one else in the country had used. And it was really a scam, and so the district spent $2.7 million on the system. And so I was able to use the pages of the newspaper and research to draw public attention to this and make it an issue.
Well, yeah, if you don't know out there, 'cause sometimes, like, I'm pretty, it's weird how Lockport and Niagara Falls and different places kind of, but I want you guys to realize this is right here, Lockport, New York.
Yeah.
This isn't somewhere on think about it, first school district in America in facial recognition. Facial recognition to me reminds me of, like, I don't know, Soviet Union type stuff.
Well, that's exactly
or China or-
1984.
Yeah, right.
Well, it was the same kind of system, right? I mean, because, some people say, well, cameras, we always had cameras. You have cameras right there. And the way I explain it to people is that if I handed you a Bible, or book version of the Bible, and I said, find me all the pages where John and Matthew are on the same page. You wouldn't be able to do it. It'd take you forever. If I handed you a digital version of the Bible, and I said, find me all the places where Matthew and John are on the same page, you could do it in 2 minutes. So they were going to install this system that could go back and retroactively scan tapes and figure out who hangs out with who and where, really big brother stuff. And it wasn't even going to make our kids any safer, because the whole premise of the system was that you could predict in advance who a school shooter would be, get his picture, put it in a database, and know that he was coming up to the school, which is just stupid on its face, because first of all, you don't know who the school shooter is going to be. And if they're not in the database, you could literally walk up to the camera and go, hi, I'm here to do some shooting, and it would make no difference at all. The other thing that I told the district at the time was that, look, this is a $2.7 million system. Think about how much money that is. That's $2.7 million. That's like 2 iPads per student if you want to use the money in another way. That can be done in, I told him, this can be done in, some guy could get a $2.99 ski mask over at Ace Hardware, and it doesn't work. Of course, the irony is that within a year, everybody in Lockport was wearing masks, so it wouldn't work. And what was interesting about this is, even though the district insisted on continuing with this system, we were actually able to put together a statewide coalition and win approval of a statewide law based on the Lockport experience that bans these systems statewide all across New York, including in Lockport, for 2 years until they can be studied, which is really what should have been done in the beginning.
Yeah, and the studies always scare me. You know, these studies. I mean, you know what I mean, Wade? Like, sometimes I hear study and I just, what are they going to study? Because you just broke it down for them right there. They're study time over. I mean,
And it's my understanding that many on the school board are still looking forward to July 2022, where they can possibly get this back.
And they won't.
All right, let's fight.
There's
so
no
we
way
don't.
New York is going to let this go forward. And because it's just a waste of money. You know, the one aspect of this that I think everybody understands, whether they're, you know, a Trump Republican or a Bernie Sanders Democrat or whoever they are, is you don't spend $2.7 million of taxpayer money for our kids without doing your homework. What's the first thing? My daughter's back there behind the screens. The first thing they told her at the beginning of every year in school was do your homework. And here the school board couldn't be bothered to do its homework on something that was that expensive. I think people understand that. If they had done their homework, if they had talked to the community, if they had done anything intelligent on this, they never would have spent the money.
right. Yeah, you had another good quote that I found, and it was, you don't judge it by what the people running it promise, you judge it by what it ultimately has the technology capacity to do.
As we've learned from Facebook.
Right. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, that's why the study, and it's July 1st, I think.
You've done more homework on this than they did.
I did, just
Yeah,
by listening
yeah.
to time. Yeah, right? And I'm with Mr. Jim Schultz, his book, My Other Country, 19 Years in Bolivia. Find it anywhere. Anywhere books are sold.
Yeah.
All over the place. You guys can find it. Was there bid rigging? Anything like that? Was there any issues? Like, how did when the guy...
There were no bids.
There was no bids.
There were no
So it was
bids.
nothing. So it was just, was it SN Technologies?
SN Tech
SN
is
Tech,
this kind of sketchy Canadian company that their entire history was, there were some guys that came, there were basically 3 guys that came out of the casino industry in Ontario,
Right.
who had developed a camera that you could hang over a blackjack table to see if the dealers were screwing around.
Right.
So they see that New York State has allotted $2 billion for technology education, and that one thing that it could be used for is high-tech security. So they target New York as a market. And literally, you can find in writing on their website an old version of it that they targeted New York as a market. They went around and talked to a whole bunch of school districts all across Western New York, saying, hey, you should do this. Lockport was the only district that did. They didn't do any bids. They didn't do any bids. The only actual homework they did was on me. They actually investigated me, collaborating with a private investigator on school district time to look into my background. And I love this because they created this cockamamie story that they were going to, because they were trying to undermine my credibility. And their story was, oh, the only reason that this guy is asking these questions and making a fuss is because he went to school, he went to college with the founder of a rival company, right? That was the story they were investigating, except the guy that they're talking about, I've never met him. I went to UC Berkeley, he went to UCLA, kind of 450 miles apart. And I went to school in the 70s, he went to school in the 1980s. And, you know, I'm a nice guy, but I don't own a time machine.
Right.
So this is the kind of nonsense happening behind the scenes to try to cover up the tracks of the system. And the other piece of the story that I think is just amazing is they stipulated to the state, the school district, that they had consulted with, they literally ticked boxes, community members, parents, students, teachers. The only community consultation they did before they spent $2.7 million was they, at a school board meeting in mid-August at 2:30 in the afternoon, they put it on the agenda. And you know how many people went to a school board meeting in mid-August at 2:30 in the afternoon to listen to this presentation and comment? 0 people. Because the only people who would do that are really out of their minds anyway. You know, who would sit through February and March and then decide just in August in a school board meeting?
Right.
And they knew that. And that is all part of this sort of misdealings that were involved in building this money.
Robin, anything going on that we need to know?
Nope, nothing yet.
It was a great. I know you worked well and showed Connor Hoffman in many things, and he had a report about this on MTV News.
Yeah.
And you heard when Connor spoke to the students about it. Nobody had a clue on what was going on until the day it actually happened, and that really shows how this was kept quiet for so long. The only people that knew about it were the people that were voting on it.
And why? Like, why do you think? Like, 'cause you know, usually here when we find out, like, in Niagara Falls, when I find out, geez, they just gave this guy 2 beautiful spots on 3rd Street for $1. And then you look at, oh God, okay, we know, we can figure out why. You know what I mean? It goes to NFR, it goes to wherever it's going to go, any of them. Like, why? You know, there was no connection, right, between anyone in Lockport and SM Technologies. So they did it for what? Just be out of fear?
I think what you had was a school district that desperately wanted to at least look like they were doing something about school security. The consultant, this supposed consultant who was literally a financial partner in the company, who presented himself as an independent security consultant, they said, hey, a free consultant, free advice. Let's take free advice. And unfortunately, the school district also treats state grants as if they're free money. I don't think they would, in a moment, have spent $2.7 million of local property tax money on this. But it's still our money. I mean,
Right.
Who cares whether it comes out of your local property tax bill or your state income tax payment? It's your taxpayer money. So I think it was just sloppy. And then I think they just dug in their heels. And just one of the things I think is important to take away from this is, your show is Citizens United. This is, I think, what it means to be citizens. We have to watch for these things.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you see something, do something. And I'm just a citizen. I'm not an elected official or anything, but any citizen, if they want to, and you do this all the time, and you do this all the time, look behind the door, figure out what's going on, make a fuss, put a public spotlight on it, because you can make a difference. That's the most important thing.
I'm glad the difference you made when it came to the school board election the following year. You went, I don't want to say overboard, but like you did such an amazing job with getting people aware of what was happening in the Lockport City School District, and I really commend you on doing everything you did, because it looks like we have some board members now that will not allow this to go through, and I don't know if they would have even have ran if you
Right.
didn't show everything that was happening. So hats off to you, hats off for sure.
Well, and I think one of the products of this was the, Renee Cheatham, who is the only African-American elected official in Lockport. And I think one of the reasons that not only was she was elected with more votes than any school board member I think has ever been elected within Lockport. Came in first place was because the African American community really understood how this was targeted at them. Because one of the things that is a problem with facial recognition is, and the school district, of course, didn't do their homework, it misidentifies people of color, particularly African American females. What does that mean? It means that the potential for a false alarm. It also supposedly identifies guns, but it misidentifies broom handles as guns. If you have a false alarm with this system, the police chief of Lockport has said they will treat it as a live shooter situation. So imagine what it means to be in the high school and you've got police coming in with their guns, ready to go. All it takes is one kid reaching in his or her back pocket for a phone, and you have a nightmare on your hands in the Lockport schools. So this is a system that actually made and makes our kids less safe, not more safe. This is why it's such a crime for a school district to not do its homework.
And isn't our, I'm sorry to cut you off, isn't our school already safe? We have only one door that they can enter through.
That's exactly
All the
what I was
doors
gonna
are locked.
say, yeah.
You have to go through metal detectors. You have to go through a public resource officer who is armed. So isn't that enough?
Yeah, no incidents either that I know of.
Right.
Of any.
Well, and I don't want to say anything on the air, but there are holes in security at the school, and all they had to do was talk to students. If you talk to students, like, they're the ones who know, right? Go to the students and say, hey, if somebody wanted to get in here without anybody noticing, how would they do it? The students know. Did they ever bother to talk to the students? No. And so think about it. The people who actually know the most were never talked to. Instead, they relied on somebody who, didn't know anything about the situation.
Yeah, that was my question, Wade. I was wondering because I never heard it. Even in Niagara County altogether, Niagara Falls, no, we had never had any school shootings. And then you could correct me, Robin. Do you remember any?
No.
Any issues like that? So that just came out of nowhere. Like this whole thing, I didn't even know about it. I really didn't until you told me. I didn't really know about it only because I guess the Niagara Gazette didn't have it. I don't know. And usually I'm all over looking at stuff. But either way, how the hell? I don't know. I'm in Niagara Falls, and I know a lot. I do pay attention, and that's our media problem. We'll have to do another show on the media, how bad it is. Someday with you, Jim. It's a scary situation here in Niagara County because there isn't one. It's controlled by something, and we're not sure what. But they only report on what is. It's almost like a catch and kill situation. I notice here, but anyhow, I'm with Jim Schultz, and his book is called My Other Country, 19 Years in Bolivia. Please find it anywhere, Amazon, anywhere good books, great books are sold.
You could also
Even
find it
available
on,
in places bad books are sold.
Everywhere. You get it everywhere.
You can also find it on JimSchultzTheWriter.com, and
Yes.
also learn more about Jim and all the great things he's done for the communities he's lived in.
Jim, I want to go off the board real quick, and if you say you don't want to answer it, that's fine. It's okay.
Go
You
for
don't
it,
have to.
man.
Buffalo, New York. Wow, the new mayor of Buffalo. That was a stunner. I mean, no one believed that. Well, even Byron Brown himself, I don't think even really, he didn't do much. And I just want to get your thoughts. It's an incredible, not since 1960 have we, I think it was the last time in Milwaukee that there was a openly called himself socialist mayor of a major city. Your thoughts a little bit before I know you got to go.
Sure. I think that it's kind of less important, really, that she labels herself a socialist than what we have in New York State is. This is the third episode after the two big House races in New York City where you have entrenched incumbents who take their position for granted. Brown didn't campaign in the same way that these Congress people done in New York City didn't campaign. And you have grassroots people who, in theory, should never be able to win these races, who say, you know what, I'm going to run. And you know what, I'm going to go to the people, and I'm going to build public support. And the old guard wakes up the morning after the election and says, what just happened? What just happened?
Right.
And I think it's really important in a democracy. And I'm, a democracy obsessive, right? I run an organization called the Democracy Center. I once wrote a book called the Democracy Owner's Manual. There's always more possible in a democracy than we think. We are more powerless than we actually think of ourselves as more powerless than we actually are, because we just think there's nothing you can do. There's always something you can do. And so to me, the lesson from that race in Buffalo is less about left, right, social. It's a grassroots candidate surprised a complacent office holder. And these people are genuine, whether you agree with them or disagree. They're genuine human beings. That video of her in the parking lot, with her mom on the other end of the line, that's joy, that's authenticity. I think people are looking for real human beings. I think they're tired of these people they're just out of this plastic politician mold. And I think people are sick of that. And you can spot authenticity. So I think, again, yes, it's historic that somebody who labels themselves as a socialist, whatever that means these days, has been elected. But the real takeaway for me is that all kinds of things are possible in democracy that we don't expect. And it just means you have to have faith, and you have to take a chance, and you have to be real. I think people are looking for real people, and that's a good thing.
We'll leave it there.
I do want to say that
We won't leave.
We won't leave.
All right, no, go ahead.
I do want to say that Mr. Schultz is very, very fair in everything he's done. He, when I first met Jim, took me out for coffee, and you did a report on me,
That's right.
and but you also invited Michelle Roman, Keith McNull, who recently passed, but we were all running for mayor,
Right.
nominated in that special election, and as fair as could be, Mr. McNull didn't wind up coming, but it just showed how you do believe in democracy. You're not going to just make it so you are only doing the one story of Miss Roman or whatever. You invited all of us, and I commend you for that. I really am glad everything you've done in Niagara County, and we're going to have future stories coming up more with you educating us on the solar panels and stuff like that. So I am really glad you came on the show. And
I'm grateful to be here.
yeah.
And I appreciate you guys doing this show, and all of you who are working on it. It's just anything that can help people become more educated about their community and more involved, that's democracy right there.
It's democracy.
We will leave it there this
All right.
time. All right,
Okay.
Mr. Schultz, Jim Schultz. Remember his book, My Other Country, 19 Years in Bolivia. Thank you for coming with us and being on my show.
All right, thank you, John.
Thank
Take
you.
care. All right.
We'll be back in a moment with some election result talk and some great news finally for sexual assault survivors. We'll be back.
Thank you. Take care.
Come back.
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Western New York, CJ Spiller here, telling everyone to watch Goal Getters live every Friday at 6 p.m., where they'll give you up-to-date sports info. It's a great show, so be sure to leave your comments below. You like how I rhyme with that?
All right, we're back. And once again, thank you to Jim Schultz for joining us today. A lot of interesting stuff, a lot of good information. We're going to have to talk to him more. There's so many issues that we can talk about. You know what I mean with him. That's why I was glad he answered about the Buffalo situation, because I agree with him. Like, I don't really even care if it's because of what she is. It's just that it happened. We'll talk about that after. Why don't we go look at some results from Niagara County? That started last night. Was the what do you call it? Whatever it was, a primary, I guess. Well, there we go. That is the Republican one, and as we see, Janelle Faso wins that. Well, how many? By about 80 votes, maybe, if I've seen that right, 70, something like that.
70 votes, yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Wins the Republican line and ends up winning them all. Wins every line. Wins it all. Like maybe a tie in the working families or something, but that's insignificant. Wins the whole thing, and will be your next city court judge. So nothing more you can say. They won, and it's just the way it is. The voters talk, and when they talk, there's consequences. There's always has been.
I would be asking if I was Mr. Saraceno, I would be asking for a recount in the one I'm pulling up right now in the Republican line, though.
There's a missing disc or something going on.
There's a missing disc
Republican
on Gaskill,
yeah.
right?
Something I heard.
So maybe that could change something. I would definitely be asking for a recount, especially on that one, because that line was a close election right there.
Yeah, for me, I am. I've always said this, and I think others have said that. I didn't coin the phrase, but they just elections. Elections have consequences, and the people do what they do, and you have to live with it, and that's how it works. And I will not go as far as to be throwing out congratulations, but it's over, man. That's it. And like you said, I don't know what they're going to do with this disc that's supposedly missing. But. Here in Niagara County, I don't even care if they found it. Who knows what would happen? Who knows? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what the hell's going on. We may never hear from them. How much you want? No, wait a minute. This is similar to when the ballot on Route 31, because we got now. I'm going to guess the Gazette won't put a story in the paper about about this disc thing, but they did put the one about the ballots, and then it was done. We didn't hear another word about it. I'm assuming this disc missing will be the same thing. Whatever. There won't be a general election for that. I mean, because it's lights out, and Faso wins. So we'll have another Faso. All right, let's move on to the county court judge race. The Democratic side, Michael Benedict won handily, 3-1. So he takes the Democrat line. No surprise there.
The big surprise there was not in here, but it was in the Republican side, where he only lost by a few votes to Taviano, which really makes you think.
I thought he was going to win. I honestly thought he was going to win the Republican side. I thought it even before the day. Mm-hmm. I was saying that I think he'll win, and he's going to win.
Right. You see how many votes he got on the Republican primary, how close he was, and how he destroyed on the Democrat line. So if he doesn't win, you blew it.
You got to wonder what the hell. Yeah, that'd be unbelievable if he doesn't win. I mean, I thought he was going to sweep the board. I had figured he'd win both major lines, and then that'd be it. And then I don't know. I think Taviano is conservatives or something.
And how can how can you lose when your opponent has no criminal justice experience?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Shouldn't even be on that line in the first place.
You would think it's amazing that they couldn't have mustered up someone else. Even if it had to be a younger person, what's the difference? Anything's better than what that was in my mind. I'm really shocked that he won the Republican. I did not think he was going to win that. I didn't. I really thought, that actually stunned me. I thought for sure Benedict was going to sweep the board. Let's see what else we have going on. Oh, our guy, Kevin. Mr. Kevin L. Young. He put up a good fight.
Yeah,
and not bad, 33%.
Not bad at all for going against a person who's been there for
10 years?
Over 10 years, yeah. I think it was 14. He had a good virtual town hall where he received many callers here at Gorilla's Inc. And although, like me and Mr. Al Yan do not agree on our political views, he is a respectful candidate who can at least have conversations with people who don't agree with him.
Yeah, and he came up short, but I thought it was a good showing. To get 158 votes, it's obviously a small election. I think he should go away feeling feel good about himself. He put it out there. He might run again. Probably shouldn't stop. Right, Robin?
Yeah.
Kevin,
Kevin's a great candidate, very well informed. He knows what's going on around here.
Yeah. Sometimes a little too much, probably for some.
Yeah.
But because he does, he gets to that. Well, he's on the point. He's over the point. He gets to it.
Right.
And it makes people uncomfortable. It'd been really uncomfortable the day he maybe wins something. And then you're going to see uncomfortable establishment politicians. What do we got next? Okay. This is our fun District 4. And I also think Pascari lost. Yes, I believe he lost 2-0. I think it was a shutout by Elder. And Elder,
what happened to the two people that got him in on it? They didn't have the time to go vote for him at the primary.
I probably shouldn't even say that. I really don't even know what the hell happened there. I thought last I saw was 2-0. I don't know. But here, how close?
11 votes.
We'll be recounting that. But right now, Elder will have knocked out Owen Steed. And the thing about that, there's a few things that are really evident from last night. If that holds, Owen Steed has to be. He's the mayor's guy. Everywhere the mayor is, you see Owen Steed. He's also got to be the side of, I guess you call it an establishment side, because I can't call it Republican because it's not fair. It's kind of just all in one. So for him to lose like that, and Mazur to get beaten like that, to not even come close, that's weird.
Makes you think what's going to happen in the next mayor's race.
Right. What's happening here? Why? Why would you have that? I don't know. But behind the scenes, who knows? I don't know anything anymore. It could have all been a setup. I don't know. But I was surprised at a couple of those things because usually that just doesn't happen. So maybe that's a good sign. Maybe that's one good thing that comes out of last night is you get that. They're generally guys like the mayor and the others. They keep a record. Their record, like win-loss record, and that's not a good night. When you go, I'd say probably 1-2 because Benedict you consider a win, but not a good night at all. And it looks like Elder. Well, it's 11 votes. We got a missing disc. I don't even. That's not in their district though, so it wouldn't even matter because that's at Gaskell. So yeah, it don't matter. Right? It's probably over. I don't know about absentee ballots. I have no idea. So let's see what else we got. All right, this race here, the winner's going to take on Bill Kennedy, and Bascio wins it. Tight race. There is a missing disc, and this is in that district, and it's allegedly a Republican missing disc, so anything can happen. And
we're talking about 19 votes difference, so this one definitely is going to be looked after again, I'm sure.
There's a lot of, I think, absentee ballots, too, for this one, but I don't know. Anyhow, we'll see what happens. I don't even know. We'll see what happens. It's hard to even say because, but Bill Kennedy will be taking on whoever.
And Bill Kennedy also said whoever wins this race, that he is actually excited to debate them, and
Right.
he challenged them to a debate right here at Gorillas Inc. So whoever wins that race, I hope either or Vascio has the guts to come and debate.
You know what? I bet you one would, one won't, and
I bet you
Vascio
either
will
would.
do it.
I bet you either will.
he
come
definitely will do it.
debate.
Vascio will not a chance, because we're beneath him,
Mhm.
and that's how he acts. We're beneath him. So anyhow, that's fine, and that's that. Do we have another race to bring up? Before
Yeah, local Lockport won the
this is
only
our
primary.
friend,
Yeah.
but our friend wins, Kitty.
Mhm.
Kitty wins.
Kitty used to be a alderman back in the day. 6 years ago, maybe
Really?
a little more. Yeah, she's
Good for
very
her.
involved in the community, and
We know her, and that's
Yeah.
great. It's always nice to have someone who's friendly to us,
Mhm.
to be on whatever, the council here up in Lockport. I'm happy.
but just because you're friendly to us doesn't mean that we won't call you out.
Oh,
you know
of
what I
course
mean?
not.
Kitty do a really good job. We're hoping for we're hoping you do some great things.
Yeah, I'm happy for Kitty.
For
I'm
sure.
Happy for
That's
Kitty,
good. I
too.
mean, it's a close race too. Look at that. I don't know the people. Do you know any of them that she was running against?
Kyle Lambalzer, he is I know he's on the school board. He's
Okay.
been on the school board for quite a while. I'm not familiar
The other
with
person?
the other person. And if I am, I apologize, Christopher Womsky. But name just doesn't ring a bell. I'm glad Kitty won in this election, though, and hopefully she can start guiding the rest.
Yeah, I love having someone that's friendly. No, you're right. If anything were to happen, I asked her 1,000 times to come on, so hopefully she'll come on now. She's the one. Like that's it, right? There's not going to
Well,
be.
no, there's that was just the primary.
But is there a Demo-
There's a Democrat running
Oh.
against her, so she didn't win.
no
yet.
Democrat primary.
Right, no Democrat primary.
Do you know who it is?
Not off
That's
the
okay,
top
me
of
and
my
Rory.
head. Not off the top of
She'll
my head.
win though. It's Republican. Come on, she's got to be the favorite, right? Wouldn't
I'm
you say?
assuming.
In
I'm
her
assuming
district?
So,
Yeah, she's the favorite. All right, Kim. I hope Kitty. Well, good. She won the night. So moving on to November. That's all you can do. So that was election night last night. What the hell is this? 2021. And let's touch on Buffalo real fast. We did a little bit with Mr. Schultz. Let me just say that for me, it's India Walton wins. There's a lot of things. Now, she won by 1,507 votes, and it's said that that's almost the same amount of absentee ballots. So she's in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
She's the first woman and openly, Socialist Party thing in Buffalo history. I said it before. 1960 Milwaukee's the last time big city. The Democratic Socialists of America, the largest socialist organization in the country. And I agree with Jim. Okay, fine, but it's just what's nice is he's the governor's guy. He really is.
Oh, yeah.
He's the governor's guy. This is what I was even trying to say in Niagara Falls. Like, that's a message. That's a message sent, to knock Byron Brown out. And that's the point. And when you get that kind of insurgency and, like he said, grassroots and the people doing it, no matter what it is, it's good. That's always good, because that means you're actually getting, I guess, what the people want. And I've gotten to the point, Wade, that I'm so disgusted that now let's take out craziness, okay, with this before I even go on. Obviously, no hatred, none of that kind of stuff. Okay, we're not talking. That's just ridiculous. That's not what I mean when I say this. I don't even care anymore. I somewhat don't even care. If it would have been a grassroots person that was real conservative, I don't even care. That would be great. You knock out that guy.
Right, because we also seen
Yeah.
Mr. Kevin Allian speak out against his own party.
Yeah.
And he would have. That's a grassroots candidate
Yeah.
right there. He's not endorsed by the established.
Right.
So definitely, I totally agree. And when we call this lady a socialist, it's just what's your form of socialism, basically. That conservative, many of them are socialists as well, screaming for a wall to be built on our taxpayer money. So what is your form
Yeah.
of socialism is the question for every candidate. And stop using the word socialism as negative thing, because many of the things that you talk about, that conservative, that Democrat, that person who's claiming to be a socialist, it's just your brand of socialism.
Yeah, I get, I love to watch a guy like Byron Brown, because when you hit him and beat him, it goes directly to Albany, and I think that's great. That's what I'm thinking in Niagara Falls in some ways. Maybe the loss of Steed and things like that goes directly to City Hall, which indirectly goes up to someone else we know in Henry and them and those guys. So okay, that was that. In Buffalo, historic, incredible. There is no Republican running, I don't believe, so she's the mayor. Look up the things. It's funny. Me and my son were looking up what her platform type is. Check it out. Some of the stuff like you said, everyone's got a different brand of what they want. It's interesting, but you just have to check it out. I'll let everyone check it out themselves. Robin, anything for us?
Nope.
No, we're good. Okay. And if you've got anything, let me know. Let's do something that never usually happens. And this is a great story. This is why it's the last story, but it's the walk-off story for us. Because sexual assault victims, which are survivors, don't usually get a good day. Especially in court or by government or anywhere. Well, this now, I know it's just a headline. Hopefully there's more to the story. The New York State Attorney General's office is suing the Niagara-Wheatfield School District, claiming it repeatedly ignored students' complaints of rape, sexual assault, and harassment. The investigation found that the district failing to take action on these complaints led to several students to drop out. The quote from the Attorney General was, "It is unconscionable that a school district tasked with educating and protecting our children turned a big blind eye to the abuse." Wow. When I saw that today, it made me happy, because that's a win. That's a small win, but it's a win. Because it's somewhat saying we're going to hold you people that enable and allow it to happen. So we're going to hold you accountable now too, because you just turned away. You didn't want to see it. And I think that's a good start.
Right after the Attorney General proves all this, and hopefully it goes to court, and hopefully it continues to be pushed. Many people need to be, if they're still at that school district, fired, and the school needs to openly expose them people as well.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about people, many different people, and also for over 10 years.
It's a long list too of people, children at the time, now adults. This particular thing that got the attention of the Attorney General was, this was a big story around here too, was the female student that was raped in 2018, and the other student who raped her pled guilty to third-degree rape, but was allowed to still stay in the school. So they were both in the school, going to proms, graduation, and it just, and eventually they did, I believe, expel him, but the rapist. And so that caught the attention of the Attorney General. Now, hopefully, the Attorney General will also catch attention of a lot of other ones that we know of and that have happened there, and that have been. I also would wonder if the Niagara County Sheriff's Department at some point gets looked at by the Attorney General. Talk about complacency, talk about turning a blind eye. Right. So that would be interesting, right? I hope because you got them. I believe they're still there. They're right in the school. So what are they doing while people are being harassed? If you have harassment, whatever, rape, sexual assault. I mean, we're not even talking bullying.
Handcuffing victims to chairs. That's what they're doing.
A lot of things. Yeah, a lot of things, man. And hopefully, this means the Attorney General is going to be taking all aspects of this. It's time to stop and letting people enable, the predators to do whatever they want. And it's in all. You know what? I know we went through this. We have a Kay on our show, and obviously she's directly involved in Niagara-Wheatfield, and but it's so many more, just so many more of this. It's staggering, and I hope this is just the start. because I also would like to know about the Niagara Falls School District. Look at that list, starting from the 80s all the way to
18 different people who were teachers.
And doing multiple, not just one. Yeah.
Right, multiple cases of sexual assault, 18 teachers, and
grooming them and doing the whole deal.
I only seen one report in our local media, the Niagara Gazette, about it,
Right.
and then nothing since that one report. You need to get back on this Niagara Gazette, every local newspaper, along with TV as well. There needs to be awareness in our community.
Yeah, well, you know what I heard? I heard the Gazette only has 2 reporters now. That place is done. They're done. It's over. It really is. I mean, if you can't rely on the Buffalo News because their Niagara section is run by Tom Prohaska, who is, I think, bought and paid for, so he's not going to do nothing. So
can we buy them? Because we can do a much better job than what they've been doing.
Definitely. I mean, there's a void. We've been talking about this forever, the void in media here.
Mm-hmm.
It's worse than ever, man. It's worse. It's worse than we've ever seen. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, not even just us. I mean, there's nothing. If you think about it, you can't get any. When was the last time, let's say the mayor walked out and was taking questions from reporters or somebody that weren't already, what do you call it? You already knew the question before they were asked.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get that here. But when I'm watching Chicago, and I see the mayor of Chicago come out, and behind her is the police chief and stuff, it's just people it's reporters, and they're asking questions. Now, we don't have many reporters here, but at least have the availability. We don't even have the availability. Because it's different too. People say go to a council meeting, go to that. Council meeting, they don't even have to answer you. But it's a little different when it's a reporter. Because then the reporter can go and say, and report.
And when we seen that in Niagara Falls, especially when we seen a person that did have a question, we seen one of the people that are running for legislator adjourn the whole meeting. Vascio, this meeting's adjourned over a question being asked. That just shows you our council, and the guy who's too good to come on our show really doesn't want to speak to anybody that has any difference of opinion.
Yeah, or even just answer questions. I mean, if you want to ask him a question, you got to go to his coffee clutch thing or whatever. You're not going to go to that. Who the hell's going to go to that? Why would you?
I think I got to go to it.
Yeah. Pretty soon he's not going to have it anymore because he won't be a councilman anymore, and he won't be a legislator. So it'll be, I guess, time to move
back
away.
to Pennsylvania, eh?
Probably a new place, I'm guessing. But sexual abuse survivors, we do this is something that was kind of hard, and I was kind of saying it, and I want to say this the right way. It's in conjunction with last night, and all of that, with the city judge race and all that stuff. Those two things just happen to intersect. If the one didn't happen, which I'm talking about our race, there'd still be going on. The same stuff would be happening. That just happened to show up. You know what I mean? So if you wanted, I hope that I don't ever, and it'll never happen again, politicize survivors again. And it pisses me off. And it should everyone. And I just don't think I don't think people realize that if that wasn't going on, that race, we would not. It's not as though that's it. It's all done. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, we didn't do months of stories on that only because it was a local political race.
Yeah.
We wanted to give victims their voice that is going unheard because all these news media outlets won't take their story, won't listen to their story. And these are predominant people in our communities that are lawyers and running for judge and everything like that are involved with this story. So
it's going to intersect. There's nothing you can do because our stories started well before, like you said, and it's not, they're going to intersect. It's just how it goes. And so, like, anything that happened politically means absolutely zero to the survivors, the fight of survivors, the whole damn thing. It means nothing. That meant nothing. It never meant nothing. It couldn't. Nothing that happened there could have changed anything that happened to the survivors, you know, and all the stuff we're trying to do.
And the great thing here is what just happened.
Yeah.
You know, let's really hope that justice is served by the New York State Attorney General. And she has gone after many cases before. I'm actually encouraged by her that she is going to continue with this fight.
I hope so, man. She went after I don't know what happened with the governor, but she went after him about the nursing homes, and I haven't heard another word. I just hope that this here, you know, it should. They're suing them is great. It's what should happen. I would have to circle around and take a look at Niagara County Sheriff's Department, see if there was any complacency there, and because I think that's important too, because they're inside there, and yeah, I mean we had a win. I mean, we had a win for sexual assault survivors last night.
When you're found guilty of, even if it does get marked down to a misdemeanor, if you're found guilty of it being a police officer, shouldn't be working in the police force anymore in New York State. That's my understanding. Is that correct?
I think so.
I don't understand how a person who was involved with a situation there then goes and works for the Niagara County Jail. That's a question that needs to be looked at, and you know, that goes along with what you're saying with the Niagara County sheriffs need to be investigated as well.
Because there's so many, like I said, there's just so many.
Mhm.
This what happened in 2018. That's I got to imagine Attorney General knows all the what has gone on. Well, you can find it. Really, I think it's public knowledge. So it was a good day for sexual assault survivors. I was encouraged by that. It's a good day when Assemblyman Morinello is considering or doing what he said he's going to do. That's a good fight. We're kind of moving in the right direction. It's kind of slow and inch by inch, but we're getting there, I think, and helping them survivors. And it'll never stop. And
this is a time that it shows courage to continue the fight, because even when we lose some elections, it's not the end of the world. You only make it fatal. You're the only person that can make a loss fatal.
Yeah, because you know what? For me, I'm gonna be brutally honest here. What happened last night? As much as I have friendships, obviously, you know, I like Dominic. I like him a lot. He's a good man, and I believe he deserved to win. He was the best. He deserved it.
By far the best candidate.
Yeah.
Correct.
But you know what? That really has zero. What happened last night? I could care. I don't want. I almost could care less, because when I woke up, when you wake up this morning, what's different in my life? Nothing. What's different in Robin's life? Nothing. Do you see what I mean? Like, nothing. Nothing's different. We still have to move on. The victims still have to become survivors, because that, whether there was a win or a loss last night, it wasn't going to take anything away. You can't take it away. It was just, it's nothing. It was nothing. And that's kind of what I think is in my mind, has always been in my mind. It really is nothing. It's a whole bunch of nothing, because we have more important things to do, like really take care of those that were, you know, you think of Kay.
Mm-hmm.
You think of other, there's people contacting Robin that are really in trouble and hurting right here in Niagara County, that haven't come forward, so we don't say their names, but I mean, they're hurting. There's a girl right now that Robin's talked to just maybe yesterday, who won't come out of her house because of something that happened to her. You know, so it's not, just screw that other thing. Good. You know what? Whatever, it's done.
Right. I know it's got to be discouraging for
Yeah.
people. However, if anything, it should make you stronger to want to help us. You see even more of the nonsense that happened, and on how this person gets elected, so on and so forth. It should make you stronger to realize there's a bigger fight that we have to fight. and to be that active person in the community and not just pretending to be like like a lot of these candidates do when they're running. They go and they do cleanups. They go
Right.
do stuff like that. Let's be the people that are doing the cleanups and doing the really reaching out to a community all year round instead of just the candidates who do it for a couple months to show they're a good person.
And I'll say yes, and you know what? Today's a victory for survivors, and it's time for people out there to stop enabling, hiding, and all that. It's just, enough's enough. There's too much. There's too many. There's too much. It's not even, it all over the country, all over the world, whatever, definitely in Niagara County, there's too much. There's too many women and men out there that have just, they used to say it was 1 in 3 women have had either, not rape, but some sort of sexual assault, whatever, and 1 in 6 men. I think I bet you that's just, because sometimes I'm in a room where I'm the only one who wasn't. Think about that. It's insane. But yet people don't want to. It's uncomfortable, sure, but geez.
And we talked about this before, where, and it's, I hate to make it so it's just about the sex of the person, but we see it. There's a lot of more males who refuse to come out
Sure.
and speak about it because it might affect their masculinity as they see or something like that, even though it wouldn't. If you were a child who was abused,
It's got to be hard.
nothing's your fault.
Yeah.
Nothing is your fault, and everybody has to understand that.
Right. All right. Let's do our around the room and see. Robin, I don't know if you don't have a take. That's fine today. I know you've been haven't been feeling good today.
I really enjoyed the interview with Mr. Schultz. I hope he comes back. I think there's a lot that we could talk to him about. As far as election results, I've got no comment.
Okay, John.
I got no comments on nothing, but it was a great show tonight. And I echo the words Robin just said. And that's it for tonight.
And you're excited for Goal Getters on Friday, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that
We got a lot of
play.
basketball to talk about.
That play last night.
Yeah,
That sealed the
Aiden.
game. Oh, my
Wow.
goodness. Yeah, we got a lot.
Definitely going to show that clip. If you don't know what we're talking about, you missed a hell of last 0.9 seconds.
Brought
in the
back a
Suns
lot of
game.
memories there.
Yeah.
It sure did. Wait, how about you? You have a final...
Yeah, I'd like to thank Jim Schultz for coming on. Great activist, great community leader who has proven what he stated, that it doesn't matter how, if you're not involved politically, anything like that, if there's something happening in your community, you speak up about it, and you can make a difference. You're as big as you believe you are. And that's why, I really like Mr. Schultz, and I'm glad he came on. I look forward to future appearances with Gorillas Inc., especially about this solar issue, because me and him disagree on some things but agree on other things. We want everybody's perspective when it comes to the solar panels being established out here in Niagara County. We want to get everybody's views, the people who are against it, the people who are for it, the people who are on the fence. We are going to give you that education that backs up everything instead of just stating mistruths like some people are. We're going to give you the pros and the cons of all.
Yeah, can't wait for that, too. Let me read my numbers. I'll go to the numbers now that we do every night. And, all right, first off, 716. And if you're, I don't gotta get the area code, because if you're in, the YWCA here is 433-6714. That's the number you call. If you're out of New York State or out of the 716 area code, you have a YWCA near you. Just Google it, you'll get their number. The YWCA is incredible. If you are currently being abused, sexually abused, if you're, that's even domestic violence, that kind. Let's go there too. If you were an abuse victim, a sexually assaulted victim, give them a call, 433-6714. There's counselors standing by waiting 24 hours, 7 days a week. There's advocates that will bring you to, they'll go with you to, and I've seen it in action, they'll go to the police station so you can fill out a report if you need, they'll go to the hospital with you, they'll go everywhere with you that you need them. So that's 433-6714. And before the last thing I want to say is, please, if you're a loved one of someone who's been sexually abused, raped, assaulted, and it's hard to find the mindset as to why things happen, I would give them a call because they can explain it. I've done it myself. And once they talked to me about the mind and what happens, it was really easy to understand. So yeah, call them, 433-6714. 1-800-662-4357. That has to do with depression, suicidal thoughts, anxieties, all of it. There's always someone there to listen. And it's 24 hours, 7 days a week. Don't be ashamed of it, because we've all had dark thoughts and just things that you're depressed about. And please give them a call. And, well, let me think about what we have coming up. I know goal getters. We have a lot. We got Marvel.
Yep, and we have a new gentleman coming very soon. Not only Signature Dish in the 716,
Right.
where we talk about
Brian Myers.
a great Gorillas Inc. Business partner, who is going to be having his show that goes around to all different restaurants in the 716 area code, and shows you their signature dish and tells you about all the great food spots that maybe you've not tried, or how you can also comment and state what else they have good on their menu.
Real quick though, we have a brand new something coming.
Yeah, we have a couple shows coming with a gentleman named Dukes. He comedian.
Almost like a Daily Show looking type.
Yeah,
Kind of cool.
Yeah, so it's gonna be really great. We're gonna be promoting that really soon, and it's gonna be on Gorillas Inc. within just 2-3 weeks.
That's great. All right, everyone. Obviously, we're Citizens United with John Restaino. We'll be back next Wednesday. Everyone, take care. Bye.